Welcome back to another episode of The Rip, pulling you into the heart of lifesaving in South Africa, keeping you with the current. These are just some of the rippable phrases that I think we're going to need to start
a lot of dad jokes
implanting here. I think you and I both are not afraid of a pun.
A little pun.
Yeah. So, Brent, we want to, I think, like we discussed this, it would be quite cool to talk about each of our life-saving journeys. Previous episode, we heard about mine. And I think we want to go into you, who's the man, the myth, the legend, Brent Shield. David Mocker, I think, has one of the best phrases about you that he'll always say when he's commentating an event that you're in, that you were born on a long weekend. I remember the first time I heard it, I thought it was like the coolest joke ever. But yeah, Brent, I think we want to go into like, why are you amped to work on the Rip? What's your life-saving journey been? What have you learned? And what you're looking forward to. So, it's kind of like one of those, like Oprah shows. And welcome
Something
to
under
my
my
car.
chest.
You get a car. I think, Brent, where are you from? How did you get into life-saving?
I'm that irritating person that went to, I was from the same primary school, Milton Pre-Primary, Milton Primary, Milton High. I probably would have gone to Milton University if I had one. And I'm from Milton Lifesaving Club. And I have been there since the tender age of 9.
Epic.
The tender age of 9.
And have you been consistent the whole way through?
I haven't been consistent. I was probably obviously in and out of it. And then I took a break. I started a business, trained a bit of CrossFit, drank the Kool-Aid, and then came back in a coaching role and slowly got supported. But my journey through that club has been from the bottom, under 9 nipper, to club captain, served on the committee for years and years and years, and took a bit of a break. And now I'm back in the coaching, and I like to think mentoring role. And involved in the provincial team, from selecting and coaching and a few other, the podcast now. I think I'm just trying to give back to kind of a sport that I feel like, and a sport and a lifestyle that's really played a massive role in my life. Even met my wife life-saving, so I owe it something.
The ultimate matchmaking environment. How did you meet Jade, actually?
So it's a funny story. We were actually in the same provincial team together for like 2 years. And the first year, I had really, really long hair. No regrets, got to try everything once. She didn't even know who I was. And then her gran actually saw me on the beach and was like, you should speak to that guy. That's the end.
And that was it. No. A Milton bloke, a Fisher girl.
That's Romeo and Juliet.
And then talk me through the decision behind like deciding who would come to whose club. Was it just always a no-brainer that Jade would shift over to be a Milton?
I think luckily we were living in Milton at the stage, and I had already been coaching, so she didn't have a choice.
Okay. Epic. And you also have siblings in the sport?
I have an older sister. She coaches at Big Bay now with my brother-in-law, and a younger brother who also did the sport. We used to, probably bad now, but they would call us the Twin Towers or the lighthouses, because obviously the Milton Lighthouse is quite iconic. So my brother, so is tall, not as pretty. We would be the lighthouses of Milton when we were competing.
Yes.
Before the long weekend joke.
The lighthouses. That's such a good one. So how did your family, your parents just want to get you guys stuck in, or?
A friend of ours had started, and I think my mom heard you can get your children out your house even on a Sunday, and she's like, I'm down for that. And
what a tagline.
Life-saving. Get your kids out of your hair on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And she sent us to the beach to do nippers, and the rest is history.
Never looked back. Awesome.
Never looked back.
And I mean, first impressions, starting at 9, but what did you think about life-saving as a sport, and kind of, what did you take from it?
So I knew that on a Sunday you could get hot chips. I was so sold on this. Chips and ice cream, I was flipping in at 9 years old. And I had quite a sporty kid. I always loved to sprint and run, and then there was flags and sprints, and the worst event to ever exist is bodyboard.
Oh,
Like the hardest
yeah.
flipping battle of your life.
Preach.
I'd love to see that come back to seniors. So, and then I got into the sport that way. Obviously, I enjoyed it. Like, I was a very physical kid. I was like, flags, you get to like rough and tumble, I'm flipping in. So every time I lost, I would cry. I like to say it didn't happen often, but it probably happened a lot. I would cry, and this time I go, no, I jumped on a stone.
Oh. And I think like as you grew up in the sport, like what was like a turning point for you with your how you approach lifesaving and like how you got more stuck in? Because I mean, as you mentioned, you're really involved now, and it's awesome, and like not everyone gets that, and there's clearly something that happens.
I was always competitive with it, and I did relatively well, and so obviously you're going to enjoy something like that. And I liked the competition. I loved the competition. Like, I still love competition, and I think I just grew into a leadership role almost by mistake. If the club went through a bit of, I was still very young, probably like 15, 16. The club went through max exodus for loss of a bit of term, so then I was thrust into like a leadership position, and that was a real turning point for me, because you realize, as cheesy as it sounds, you're not. I still am more sport than anything, but you're there for a much like bigger reason and a much bigger purpose, and you actually are kind of dealing with life and death scenarios, and it just like grew up a lot with that, and like it's helped me in business, it's helped me in life, like being in that role and being club captain from at a young age, and how to deal with people, how to negotiate things. So I actually, that was a massive turning point for me. And like, even as a career, I coach. So once that all started to develop, like, kind of my lifesaving career went from, the scope of this to just blossoming outward at a rapid rate.
For the listeners, Brent just showed visually that his hands were really small
YouTube.
And then really went
Blossomed.
much bigger.
A visual representation of a blossom.
For the YouTube viewers, you got the context of that. Okay, cool. And I mean, with so many years of lifesaving behind you, I think it might be tough to narrow this down, but I mean, any favorite events and standout moments?
You think I'd say sprints and flags, but I must say Reel was always like the event for me. I think for a sport when there's rescues, like that's the coolest event. And Reel was like often controlled and uncontrolled, like chaos. And for us, that was like a flagship event. Then you wanted to win it, you wanted to do well at it. It had this like stigma. I come from a very boaty club, so I grew up rowing.
Oh, epic, yeah.
No, I will have a soft spot for that, but
did you ever do surfboats?
Surfboats.
Oh, yeah.
So surfboats. That's all the club did when I was a child or a teenager. And sprints and flags, obviously, that's, I think, something I'm known for. And also like coach, that's what I think a lot to do from a selective and coaching side. But my favorite event was probably Reel. To watch, to do.
Yeah. And I mean, competitions that stood out, like one or two that were like your favorite?
So the first competition I ever did was, that I can remember doing for seniors and juniors, was nationals at Muizenberg. I'm tempted to say it was like 2000. I think I was 14. Back then you could qualify. You did your SPA. Yeah. Anyone who knows that word, you're old.
SPA.
There we go.
Old school.
We're aging. Your knees click when you get out of bed. Anyone who knows what SPA is. So did your SPA, you were a lifeguard, and that was it. And it was nationals, sponsored by Castle Lager. You even got beer tickets at Muizenberg behind the hut. So that competition, or that competition will always stand out for me. I've still got like the medals at home. Those are the ones that I keep for some reason. Yeah. But like my career, I was lucky. I competed with some of the best, like kind of the best to ever do it. The Riles, Mundies and the Mulls, like even in the later years, Siobhan, Torek, and internationally, the days of like Simon Harris and Paul Cancroft Wilson. Again, you know those names. Your knees and your hips click when you get out the street, you get out your chair. Yeah. So, but that competition will always have that just stands out in my mind. Yeah. And a lot of the 8-man classics, I was terrible in the water. I probably came last at everything, but I think I've done, I worked out 1 year that I've done like 8 or 9, maybe 10, 8-man classics. And I got 7 of those. I've done board, run, board. And I've probably finished them twice.
What a combination. And have you always competed Milnerton?
So I have competed. There was one season where I competed for false bay.
Okay.
Again, it was like a dream. I wanted to go to Worlds. It was in Netherlands, and that was kind of a few years after my comeback. I wanted to go. The plan was to go to Worlds. So I went to False Bay just for the season, and it was always a dream to compete like with people I grew up in the sport, like with Ra.
Yeah.
And so we used to joke about it for years, and then we thought like, this is the year I'm going to do it this year, and it was a fantastic experience, and I learned a lot. We bounced a lot off each other. We still do with a lot of the False Bay guys, but I think I just one of those guys that just always bleed blue.
So did you end up going to Worlds?
I didn't.
Okay.
I did a knee ligament in
my word.
handstand walking. Probably the only person who can twist basically wreck a knee ligament walking on their hands. So it didn't work out.
Don't walk on your hands, folks. Okay, and I mean, is a world champs on the cards for you in the Masters division then?
It is.
Okay, a little itch you need to scratch.
A little itch you need to scratch.
Yeah. Wait, which one are you setting your sights on?
I'm thinking when I bump up to the next Masters age group, which is now, then if I can be the bottom of the next Masters age group, then you're the youngster in the bunch, and that's the one. So
Morocco 2026.
2026 is
coming in hot.
Is coming in hot.
Okay. 2 years later, it's in LA in the States. So cheaper to go to Morocco next year.
Yeah. It's a side.
But a good stepping stone. So that's a really cool goal to have. So now let's just dive a bit beyond the sport. How do you think? I mean, you've touched on it a bit. How's Lifesaving shaped you as a person?
I think besides the obvious skills and medical skills and that sort of knowledge you take across being in those situations, like I say, for me one of the best things that's ever happened to me was being thrust into like a vice club captain and a club captain when I was still in my teenagers, because the stuff that I had to you deal with people and you're in charge of people and you're dealing with even like with council or committee members, people much older than you. So it taught me so much about business, so much about people management, how to deal with people, and also just when to stand up for yourself, which I take from that. And I think I'll say to anybody, there's only two things I'll ever force my child to do would be nippers and gymnastics. Just because of the skills you learn. I think, especially us in the movement and me not even being a strong water person, you underestimate the value of being confident in water and confident in the sea. And you're just able to, Cape Town, to take advantage of that. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't have that. So those are the big ways it's affected me.
Yeah. And we get this, if anyone ever hears that you're in Lifesaving and they're not in Lifesaving,
you must be a good swimmer.
Yeah, but they'll always ask, like, have you ever done a rescue? And have you ever been involved in any real life like rescue scenarios?
Yeah, multiple. I did a lot of duty hours too when I was a teenager to earn some money.
Yeah.
When Pro first started. But some, one like harrowing one that sticks out in my mind, but there's been a few.
Were most of them based off the Milnerton coast?
Yeah, all of the Milnerton coast, and one in Pringle Bay.
Take us through like one of the stories.
So the worst one is there was like a couple way down the beach, like 400-500 meters, and it looked like seaweed kind of floating in the water, and it was unfortunately a drunk lady and an equally drunk husband had gone out to save him. Gone out to save her or try. And so we, two of us kind of ran down the beach was a long run and then into the water. And the surf was like particularly huge this day. It was big surf. So the boyfriend who was still conscious he was a bit closer. So my friend grabbed him and then I went to go to which ended up being a deceased lady, and like, pulling her out and doing CPR and the whole spiel.
Yeah. No, I think anyone who's had to deal with actually needing to perform CPR, not on CPR dummy and an actual person, and it sticks with you for a while. And I think it hits home about like why it's so valuable to have these skills. But also to be in an environment where other people kind of share in that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we've definitely seen it over the years, like with anyone that's been involved in situations like that, the support that they can then get from the life-saving community to be like, we know how that feels is so vital and important.
And that's what makes it a special sport and separates it. The fact that there's that voluntary side to it is it's special. We're biased, but it's one of the most special sport in the world.
Yeah, definitely. I think so. What would you say? What's your like elevator pitch for life-saving? Like the biggest takeaway for like why it's such a big part of your life?
Besides getting your kids out the house on a Sunday.
Yeah, tagline coming to you soon.
T-shirts, check out the T-shirts. The elevator pitch. I think that you learn fantastic skills. Obviously, you learn fantastic skills. The ocean and the confidence you get it's unmatched, and it will carry you through for life. And then the people skills. And again, I think for my elevator pitch to parents is your children, your teenagers, your young adults, whatever the PC term is now, adolescents. You're in a situation where they're responsible for themselves. They're doing duty, no matter what. If they're there for the heroes to find you're there to potentially save lives and prevent lives. Yeah. You carry that responsibility and you learn it, and I don't think you get much of that.
Yeah. No.
In any other places in the world.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, so now off you, the heat's off, but we want to know why are you excited to work on a project like the RIP? What brought you into this will be something good to do?
Besides Christina's WhatsApp messages, woo, I think it's something fantastic. It's something fantastic to do. It's such a rad way to give back to the sport and being involved in the selecting, the coaching, all that. I think it's cool to bring that element, and love to hear myself talk. Love a dad joke. So I think it was made for me, and I think we're going to do some exciting things.
What kind of topics, themes are you looking forward to like bringing into the show?
I can't wait to show like the different sides of athletes. I think it's going to be fantastic. Some personalities, some senses of humor, maybe some not so much. I think that side I'm going to enjoy, and it's a free platform to poke some people.
Yeah, and like dream guest lineup. Like, give us like 3 people you would want to be able to interview.
3 people I'd want to interview on the. I'd love to. We have to have Andrew Crook, because I think
that'll be a fun.
The only person, I think we'd have to do a lot of editing and a lot of cutting things, but I think he's been around in our province and our so long.
Huge fan of this.
I'd love to speak to Simon Harris, because obviously he's a goat of the flags, the OG of flags. From a surfboard point of view, Paul Touche, and I'd love to obviously speak to Raul, because he's our goat. He's the South African best to ever do it.
Yeah. No, those are some awesome people. I think we definitely will line those up. And now just a final fun question. If you could invent a life-saving event to feature at Rescue Sports Series, potentially, or at a Worlds, or somewhere, what event would it be?
Besides the unofficial boat race,
unofficial
event, I think something where you have to like carry a weighted craft or, you know, like do laps with it and maybe that's my CrossFit background going. A little like, you know, like.
How can you perform under load? Okay, CrossFit.
Yeah, exactly. We add in a little,
Yeah.
a little strength element like that.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think a little weighted vest.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, that'll be proper. Awesome, Brent. Yeah, then that's a wrap.
That's me.
That's a wrap on your episode. And I think it's really cool for people to get to know a bit more about you. I think as we are going to be progressing with this journey, more is going to be coming out. But yeah, at least everyone kind of knows why you're throwing.
I know I stick out, so I may as well stick out online.
There we go. Well, then that's a wrap for episode 3 of The Rip. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, share, subscribe.
And buy the t-shirt.
All the things. Buy the t-shirts that are coming out to a merch store near you. And yeah, if you've got anyone that you think we should be putting onto an upcoming episode, any themes or topics you think we should be covering, please comment on our Instagram and let us know. Yeah, we're excited to build this with you. This is definitely a podcast for the people.
By the people.
By the people. So yeah, we want
with the plants.
Yeah, with the plants. We want the community to get stuck in and yeah, enjoy the journey with us.